A terrorist attack thwarted, that's reason to cheer. I'm Brian Lilley with the Rebel.media. At RCMP headquarters behind me, the Mounties have wrapped up a news conference explaining what happened in Strathroy, Ontario with now deceased jihadi 24-year-old Aaron Driver. Jennifer Strachan, who oversees the RCMP for Ontario, says that Driver was inside his house. He was under surveillance when a cab pulled up. As officers moved in, he detonated a device. They don't know whether it was on his body or in a backpack, but that set off an explosion in the back of the taxi cab.
As he was exiting the residence very quickly, the emergency response team engaged as appropriately. And very split second, he got into the cab, something detonated. There will be an autopsy because it's not clear how Mr. Driver died. He was engaged with police. A firearm was deployed. But I can't confirm if there was a potentially shrapnel that he took in from the inside of the cab or whether it was the engagement with the police.
Strachan doesn't know whether it was police bullets or the bomb itself that killed him. That will be determined by an autopsy. The cab driver injured. Police saying it's good that they were able to apprehend this man as quickly as they did because otherwise things could have gone much worse. They're still not saying what his intended target is, but we do know that they were able to identify Driver after a tip-off from the FBI. 8:30 on Wednesday morning, the FBI called the RCMP to say they had a martyrdom video from someone they didn't know. It turned out to be Driver, swearing vengeance on Canada for Canada's role in fighting against Muslims in Muslim lands.
Oh Canada, you received many warnings. You were told many times what would become of those who fight against the Islamic State. You watched as your allies in Europe and America had their bullets and bombs returned back to them. You saw bodies of the filthy French laying in their own streets. You saw explosions in Paris and Brussels, similar to the explosions they were dropping on the citizens of the Islamic State. You saw brave men and women respond to the call of jihad. You saw that each member of the coalition of crusaders was being punished for their aggression against the Muslims. Then perhaps you thought yourself safe from retaliation because you ran away from the battlefield? No, by Allah, you still have much to pay for. You still have a heavy debt which has to be paid. You still have Muslim blood on your hands, and for this we are thirsty for your blood. There's a fire burning in the chests of every Muslim, and this fire can be cooled only by the spilling of your blood. So today is the day you experience what it's like to be targeted for your belief, inshallah. I give my pledge of allegiance to Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, Amir al-Mu'mineen. He's called for jihad in the lands of the Crusaders, and I'm responding to his call.
So that call about the video, some screenshots of it, and eventually the video itself, that all started at 8:30. The Mounties had Driver identified by 11 a.m. and under surveillance. It was at 4 o'clock and shortly after 4 o'clock that the cab showed up at his house and the incident went down. There's still a lot that we don't know about this, but I did ask Deputy RCMP Commissioner Mike CABANA whether he thought mental illness was a factor in here, because every time there's a terrorist incident, that becomes the claim.
So all I can comment on is individuals such as Mr. Driver radicalized by various means. In the case of Mr. Driver, likely the internet played a significant role in his radicalization, but again, this is speculation on my part. Clearly he was radicalized based on ISIS propaganda, but in terms of his mental state, it's not something that, frankly, I'd be qualified to speak to.
Driver is someone who was under a peace bond since 2014. He's someone who had an ankle bracelet put on him. That was a restriction taken away by the court in February of 2016. It turns out that maybe he still should have been wearing it. They're not sure how he was able to get the materials to develop his explosive device. They say there's still much that they don't know, that they'll learn over the coming days as they search his house, search his belongings, and try and piece together what exactly happened. But the bottom line is there was an incident, and the only person dead at the end of it is a jihadi close police work across borders and across the country turned out to be a good result.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.